We're back with another edition of the Generals Report. I'm Caleb Dunlop, alongside head women's basketball coach Billy Perkins and head men's basketball coach Dimario Jackson. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us, for sure.
It's a exciting time. Regular season has come to a close, opening the Red River tournament tomorrow in the quarterfinal game, and of course a little bit of a change there from seasons past, and we'll get to that. The men host Jarvis Christian, the 7 seed. The Generals enter as the number 2 seed, and the women head down to Xavier as the number 5 seed. Billy, we'll start with you. Closed out the regular season with a big win at Southwest, and of course that trip is always tough, but you head down to Xavier to open the tournament.
Yeah, we let one get a slip away on Thursday, but I had a wise coach once tell me just go 1-0, and so now our point now is we just go 1-0, and it's win or go home. And so if we're not ready, I do like the new format and stuff like that. Unfortunately, we didn't get a higher seed. But we're in a good mindset as a team, and very proud of the weekend we had. We could have easily came back on Saturday and not had a good showing. And I thought we did a good job, especially shooting the ball at this time of the year. Really, it's whoever's hot and going into the tournament. And so offensively, I think we're doing some good things. Our percentages are a little bit better. And so it should be a good one on Wednesday.
Dimario, same thing. You closed out the season with a nice win on the road. And, again, that trip to Southwest coming back. But you do get to host that opening game.
Man, that trip's serious. But I thought the last trip was a testament of who we are. We challenged the guys of an overnight trip all year. We'll go either 1-1 or we've had a trip where we went 0-2. This was our first however long overnight trip where we go 2-0. And you could just see between Wednesday and Saturday, you could just see the difference in the swag of this team and the confidence, just not even talking about on the court but off the court. So, like Coach just talked about, you're looking to just build off of that. And just now you're at a point in the season where you got to go 1-0 or it's over. But this is the time of the year that you put all the work in for. So I feel like we're ready.
Dimo, you mentioned it. Tournament time, you have to go 1-0. It's one or go home. And playing a team for the third time in the season, always tough. You've seen them twice. You've been to their place. They've been to yours. Obviously, you're bringing Jarvis Christian back to the fort. What's the expectation going into it? What can we expect out of this third time through where you know each other pretty intimately?
But in both games were close. So we understand that everybody understand that, if you don't, any slip-ups could cause you to go 0-1, which means your season is over. So we understand, I'm sure just as they do, that everybody's looking to give their best punch. It's about being able to handle adversity, being able to, who execute better, who's the more disciplined team, who's the toughest, who has the less my bad moments. That's what these games come down to. But a wise coach always told me that you always begin with the end in mind. So one thing I can say about our guys and about our program is we've been preparing for this moment. You hear us say, you've been hearing me say go 1-0 all season. Well, that's so when you get to this point of the year, it's not different. This has been your mentality. But we understand you playing a team for the third time. A team that you've beaten twice. So you got to understand that they'll do anything to not lose to one team 3 times in 1 year. So we got to be ready. We expect to get whatever their best punch is.
Billy, you're going down to Xavier. You split with them in the season series. Both teams took the contest in their own home venue. What's got to go differently this time?
We just got to be us. And one of the things is we got to play clean basketball. When we were down there, we were kind of shorthanded. And, of course, they do a good job. Bo does a good job getting his teams ready. But really it's not about anybody but LSUA women's basketball. If we take care of the ball, if we do what we're supposed to do and execute and perform on the defensive end and get those rebounds and not let them have second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth shots, we'll be fine and prepare. We talked to our girls yesterday. We don't prepare on Wednesday. We prepared once we got off the bus. We were already preparing for Wednesday, recovering with that long trip. We had to recover, and then yesterday was very light practice, going over some scouting stuff, and then today trying to just get some shots up and kind of just mold that game plan to where we want it to be. But really, once that ball goes up, it doesn't really matter if you were 1-1 or 0-2 or 2-0.
Right.
That ball goes up, and the best team and the prepared team and whoever's more confident is going to pull it off. I'd like to know the stats of if you're 0-2, if there's an advantage just going, or 2-0. I think sometimes it kind of splitting kind of helps because now we know they can beat us, but we also know we can beat them, and so our preparation sometimes is good. But it really doesn't matter who's across from us. We got to do what we can do, and I think sometimes when we're not prepared like we're supposed to, the teams, they're going to bring their best shot at us just because that's what people do when they play LSU, men's or women's. They're going to do the best they can against us, and if we're not ready, and we might get surprised.
New format this year for the Red River Tournament. Last year and the subsequent years before that, this game would be played at the Laborde Earls Coliseum. This year, moving to the top 4 teams host. How big of a change is that for teams as you begin that preparation, Demo? Obviously, you're going to be at home. You get an extra home game there. But how big is that change, do you think, just across the board, not only in your games?
Well, I think, it kind of goes back to a point you made about having to play Jarvis for a third time. I definitely like the fact that we're playing in our own gym. So that's in this time of the year, and probably all year, you just try to find advantages. That's really the name of it. That's really what basketball is. You're just trying to find advantages, and that's a huge advantage. So, and I think it adds some extra. I'm gonna use it for excuse my language, but it adds an extra oomph to the regular season. Because now instead of one just trying to chase. Maybe if I know, I'm not maybe going to win the conference, maybe instead of me just chasing, hey, I want to stay in the top 8, now let me see if we could push to get to the top 4. That could be some people's mindset. I know ours is to win everything, but it just adds some extra ump to it, some extra motivation to the regular season and understanding, and it makes every game just that much more important. So I like the new format, and I'm not just saying that because we're the 2 seed. I would be saying that one way or another because it makes you understand. Like, hey, look, we have a couple slip-ups that could lead to us having to be on the road.
Yeah, I agree with Coach. I think one of the biggest things, if you look at our seeding, and on the men's side, they had a tiebreaker going. So I think it gives not first or second, but that third, fourth, fifth, and maybe even sixth on the men's side. You look at it, and if you slip up and you're not ready to play, I think it gives some motivation to get to that top spot. And unfortunately, we're not hosting, and we had lost early, and we knew we couldn't get first or second, so we were really playing for that third or fourth spot, or maybe even that fourth spot. And so that Thursday game was big for us, and we knew that. And sometimes when you know your spots already and you're not hosting, you're just going to Earls. Either way we were playing Xavier, there wouldn't have been that motivation of coming back maybe Saturday and playing really, really good basketball. So I think I like the format. It's unfortunate that we're not at home because I know the fort and how it's going to be rocking on Wednesday night. And if we would have had 2 teams, it would have been a lot better, and that's a huge advantage to our players. But I'm also, grateful for being at the 5th spot, and with the injuries we've had and what we did, we've competed and we've done what we're supposed to do, and we just got to play our best basketball on tomorrow, and everything should take care of itself.
And it also means too, no 8 a.m. game on Friday,
or on the flip side, no 11 o'clock at night.
Yes, we were. I know last year was it San Antonio on the women's side that finished out, and it was 11:30.
Yeah, and then my first year, it was us playing at 11 o'clock p.m. at night. Walking out of there at 1 o'clock to have to turn around and play again the next day.
Yeah, I think some people think that when you get to the gym, the game starts. But like our preparations, the game starts at 8. It doesn't start at 8 for us. It's like 6:30.
Right.
Just getting everything done, feeding kids, feeding athletes, and then after the game, same thing. You get done at 11:30. By the time you feed them, it's 2 o'clock before you get. I do like the format. I think I think the way it's doing. I think it helps teams to kind of better prepare. But I think the advantage is going to be you're going to see better quality basketball come Saturday, Sunday.
I mean, how big of an impact do you think that is now that we're talking about the game times? And that 8 a.m., obviously, that's not a normal game time, especially throughout the regular season. You're pretty much playing 5:30, 7:30, and then 1 and 3. So how big of an impact does that 8 a.m., that 11 p.m. start have on players, the routine, and the quality of basketball that you end up seeing?
Well, I think, for example, Caleb, I think me and you talked about this as far as us going to play 2 classics back-to-back. Preparing for the national tournament, because the first 2 rounds is back-to-back. If God blesses you to get to Kansas City, you may play a back-to-back. So I'm correlating that with, man, we don't play one game in the rest of the whole season at 8 o'clock in the morning. So imagine having to get these women or men ready to play an 8 o'clock in the morning game. Well, we know, I know, they probably not going to sleep until God knows what time.
8 o'clock.
Right. So that's what people don't understand. Like, the game is played so much before, so much ahead of before when the game is actually played. Okay, all right, imagine you getting to the gym and you thinking that you're about to play at, I don't know, 7:30, 8 o'clock, and then your game don't start for another 2 hours. So now you just pushed everything back, and what a lot of, like what Coach just talked about, what a lot of people don't understand is, for us, the game don't end when it ends. We got to get food, make sure they get back to the rooms, on top of getting the next day schedule, as far as pregame meals, shoot around, game plan, food after the game. So I think the new setup just helps with all that. And again, I'm not being biased because we were playing a home game. I was. When this topic was first brought up, I was all for it then. Now obviously I said, look, we want to make sure we get at least in the top 4, because I ain't gonna say what I was about to say, but I sure wouldn't want to have to take the trip that we just took.
Yeah.
And
that's a tough way to close the regular season too,
right.
Especially this quick turnaround. That's a long trip. How do you come back and you still have to prepare, and you still got to prepare at a high level for tournament play?
Yeah.
So how do you turn around from a trip like going out to Hobbs, come back, short turnaround, get prepared?
Yeah, I think one thing about it is when we got in home Sunday, my body was not bad on Sunday. When I woke up Monday morning is when I actually felt the lag of the trip, because Sunday I go home, I take a little nap, then I'm at church, and then before you know it, I'm kind of in my regular routine. But then the next day now it's kind of set in. But, honestly for us, right when we got off the bus, we were talking about you got to get rest. You have to sleep. And fortunately, nobody has to go back out that far. Because that's just it's a tough trip. And even their coaches will say it's tough because it's driving. And at least we only have to do it once. They got to do it every trip.
All year,
But it is, you wouldn't think the bus drive would take so much out of your legs, but I'm 5'8", and I can't imagine Slim back there in the back all cuddled up. I can barely walk when I get out, so Slim's probably cramping up himself. And so I feel sorry for the bigger people and stuff like that, because it just takes a lot of toll on you, and I'm sure coaches the same way. We talking rest and eating and stuff like that. And at this point in the game, we don't have to work them hard in practice. It's to the point where we're just trying to fine tune what we want to get out of them. And so we watch a lot of film, and then really just get to the court and just kind of fine tune what we want to do in practice. So I do like the format, even though we're traveling. That this is a rarity for us. We usually we're one of the top 3 teams, and so we'll be back. And when we're both hosting at home, the floor's going to be rocking anyways, but it's going to be rocking for us next year if we're in top 4. So.
I think it goes, as we talked about the other day. I just think it goes back to this is where preseason kick in. Because they kind of you correlate them by just the grind of preseason between August when they move in and September before we move on to the next phase, which is practice. That grind of conditioning and weights, that's where this time of the year is where it kick in at. Nobody at this point is 100%. Not one team could say that they're 100% as far as just maybe they don't have injuries, maybe they don't have anybody hurt, but everybody's that time of year where legs are kind of starting to feel heavy. So it's big. It's important to do all the little things. Like if you someone that get treatment, your treatment need to be around the clock. Getting the extra work in, because you're not doing very much in practice around this time. So that's where this time of the year show who really love it. Shows the people that has been putting in the right things. And that don't always mean you're gonna come out on top, but you're prepared to come out on top. You've done all the things that you can to control those things to come out on top.
It's been a long regular season, 27, 28 games, 22 of those in conference. Talk about some individual performances. We've seen E.J. McQuillan going for 40 for 41. Actually, funny enough, I had talked to him like a couple weeks after he hit 41. He's like, I had no idea that, with one more I could have had the single game record. He's like, oh, man. Some really good individual performances on the women's side. Sydney Persons had an incredible season. Some games with 20. She had the 30-point game. Justice Young with, I think, 7 double-doubles on the year. What has been so far your the most surprising breakout, your most exciting moments? What have you guys really liked from your teams this year?
When you recruit kids, you want to know what they're really about. And Coach DJ, so he pretty practically knew what he was getting. And so, but when you recruit like Sydney, you watch them in high school and you would kind of watch film. I never watched her live except for an all-star game. And so when she came here, just her demeanor was unbelievable. She's so cool, calm, and collected that, I can speak for Coach too. These two, if we talk about Sydney and EJ, man, they're great people. Like I've seen, Sydney is liked by everybody, very friendly, very humble. And so it's one of those things that the package is very proud to have her on our team because of that. And, I could go through each kid, each player. I'm not big about just talking about one, but I'm very proud of having a freshman that has been an impact because it helps our program. People are trying to defend her, and so it helps Justice. And Justice has some double-doubles. It's one of those things that we knew that she had it in her. But all these, we just had some really good performances by a few, and if we can all get on the same page, tell them what's going to go happen. But I'm very proud of Sydney and Justice. Even Princess is kind of coming around here, and you have Reese and you have Kelly. You have all these girls that all, Addison coming off the bench. We got everybody kind of connected, and so don't really want to just. I love Sydney and what she's done and the surprise she's brought to our program, but really proud of everybody in the program that kind of has just evolved to kind of be themselves, but also understand, hey, she's got this strength and she's got this strength, and hey, we kind of feed off each other. So very proud of everybody, and we're very lucky to have this recruiting class.
Oh man, we'll be here till tomorrow if I talk about EJ, man. But it's I don't mean to sound this way, but just not surprised because I know the work that he put in this summer. I know how much he was in the gym this summer with Coach Dwayne, Coach Alyssa. So I'm just not shocked. That young man has won a championship every year since his freshman year in high school. He has more, and I'm ready to see it. I feel like he's about to kind of get back to where he was. Not to say he's had a drop off, but and if he listens to this, he'll know what I'm saying. But I'm just not shocked, and for me sometimes, and forgive me, but sometimes I take myself out of coaching and just watch because I've been blessed to be able to see his maturation process just as a basketball player and as a young man, just seeing, where he's come from to where he is now, getting ready, God say the same, getting ready to be player of the year. I think he should be player of the year, and as Coach talked about, just not going on one person, man. But I'm so proud of every young man that's in our locker room. We went through some adversity this year, and I could say that these guys have prevailed. You know, we've challenged them in ways that they've probably never been challenged before. And I'm not gonna say every challenge, but I'll say for the most part, they've checked the box. Now, I see young men that have got out of their comfort zones, you know, in a positive way. You know, I see them dancing and creating bonds with each other that they'll never forget in their lives. You know, I see a young man like Jordan DeQueer, his maturation process from where he's come from coming from, you know, where he's come from, you know, just as a young man and as a player. And I could go down Patrick McCraney, you know, from started off kind of rough and now he's shooting the cover off the basketball. Courtney McCarthy, who, you know, he struggled in preseason. And now if you watch him run up and down, you wouldn't know that. Kyrie Haynes, his development process. Caleb Pouncey, his development process. He's playing some of the best basketball of his life right now. Terrence James being the toughness every night and getting better with it every night. Jace Tolliver, Johnny Dewalt, Talib Farrett being a senior. Bryce Journey going through what he went through this year. The adversity he had to go through. Who am I missing? I'm looking at it. Terrence Marco staying the course and getting through the season. Getting through up to this point. Unfortunately, he's out for the rest of the year, but, you know, sticking around and having some character, fixing water for the guys, making sure they got basketballs, and it's little stuff like that, you know, that goes a long way. I'm trying to make sure I'm not missing nobody. Javon Smith, his process, development process. He didn't play for a good part of the year, and now he's going playing big time minutes and getting a lot done. So, you know, it's a testament to staying true to the grind, because that's what it does for you. What you put in is what you get out. You know, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this on camera, but that's what the Bible talk about. You reap what you sow what you reap. You know, and these guys have put the right things in so they get the right things out. God, I pray I ain't forgetting nobody. I'm just thinking as I go. But I just, you know, I'm so proud of them, man. I really am, and we got a lot more work to do, you know. But and they understand, you know, what the task is at hand. So I just, man, it kind of almost make me emotional. It really does, because I'm just so proud, and it's not for people to know about some of the things we've had to prevail through, but we've had to go through. We've had to really get through adversity. You know, these guys are set out to do something special. I truly believe that. You know, so God, that almost made me emotional.
It's always fun as the comms guy to put coaches on the hot spot.
Yeah.
Hey, we're talking about one player, and coaches are always like, no. We're talking about everybody here, and that's it. But when you look through the box scores, you look at the stats, game in, game out, our bench points, our bench rebounds, always seem to outpace our opposition. I mean, there are plenty of nights through both of your seasons where we can pull up a box score, look at bench points, and it's 30, 35. And it really is a matter of, if somebody's having an off night, somebody else will pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's a testament to our team, too. The unselfishness that they have, and they understand that when they come in, they do their job. Whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, it doesn't matter. They go in there, they do the job. Even if it is give a person a break or whatnot, that they can stay they can give us some positive off the bench. One thing I remember is why I see both our teams kind of going, we're headed in the right direction. We're eating at Cheddar's, and it was a good vibe. Like, the men are eating down there and we're eating down there. And a lot of times when you go on the road, it's really kind of quiet, quiet, kind of zoned in. But in that moment in time, you could kind of just see our teams having a good time. And we had that all year. But I just remember their guys laughing, us laughing. We were in the same area, but we weren't sitting together. But, like, you could just see the enjoyment each other had for each other. And not just the players, but a lot of times the coaches. I mean, sometimes we have relationships with them, but, like, you could see the vibe with everybody involved men's and women's teams. And so there's a good vibe going in for both of our groups. And, and so it's hard for us to point out one kid because we play with 5. But I am very proud of everybody on the team, regardless of what, even our managers, we're proud of. He mentioned Marco, and I just seen Marco work his butt off, give him water. And so those kind of kids help instill what everything we teach is. You do stuff for the team, not yourself. And so very proud of everybody on the girls' side. And I've gotten to know the guys and very proud of the guys, just the vibe and how they're going. And hopefully we'll both playing on Saturday.
It's 2 teams that Billy, your team's a little bit younger. Dimo, you got some, coming into this year, it was a newer roster. You're heading into, obviously, tournament time, and it's another notch up. It's the regular season gets played, the legs get heavy, people are wearing down, but you still find another level. There's that, you dig into the box, you find that extra level. How do you impress upon some of the younger players or some of the players maybe who haven't been here, haven't seen that extra level? How do you impress upon them, hey, this is where we need to get to?
I think one thing we try to do a good job of is from day one getting them to understand what the goals are. And again, I apologize if I'm not supposed to say this, but I always give credit to God, man. The Bible says, write it down, make it plain. You give them the vision on what you foresee, short term and long term. And I think we do a good job as a coaching staff of getting them to understand where we want to be when it's all said and done. Here is what we want to do. Whether that's checking this box, that box, or this box, that's what we want to do. So every day, we have to strive to understand that, like I said before, you got to begin with the end in mind. You can't wait till you get to the end to want them to get them to understand what the goals are. Before you sign to come play for us at LSUA, here's the goals. Do you fit this? Because if you don't, then, we're not going to work. And we don't always get it right. We got some players that come in and they think they understand, they get here and it's something different, and, they have to go do something else. But it's just getting them to understand, and don't wait until tournament time to get them to understand the level of which we need to play at. It's imperative to push them to that point from start to finish. So once you get there, you try to keep everything the same. So it's not much added pressure. But it's not much added. Oh man, coach seem a little different because it's tournament time. No, this is the way coach been since you signed to come here. So now when you get to this time of the year, it's not to say it's nothing different. You've been preparing for this moment, so now you in the moment. Now you should know what to expect.
Yeah, I think and coach does a good job too. But one of the things we do is we coach hard year round. If you coach, if you take it easy during the preseason and you try to coach in the tournament, girls will not respond. And so if you coach hard, it's easier to lay off of them a little bit once because it's time of the game. They know our expectation, and so we're still going to coach them hard. But it's one of those things that there is some grace there that sometimes you've been coached hard all year, and tournament time maybe we don't say that because they already know it. So it's easier to continue to coach harder when you start from day one instead of not coaching hard and then trying to coach hard. There's no success for that recipe.
Right.
And so I think our kids or our players are ready to go because from day one preseason, when we're running the mile, we're working in the sand and we're doing all that stuff, we're coaching them hard then as we are now. And there's nothing that's – and not just that, in the classroom, we're preaching classroom work. And so if we were to slow down there, it's not a good recipe for success in a tournament if you try to change it.
Yep. And you got to make your certain adjustments and tweaks, but it's some things that the things that you can control, you try to control them from day one. Once you get to the game, you playing a certain opponent, you got to maybe tweak some things that maybe you tried that didn't work the first time you played them or the second time you played them. Not talking about not making those changes, but just understanding that you want your players to be as prepared for tournament time as you can. Because truthfully, it's gonna be some added pressure, which we don't look at it as pressure. We don't look at it as a negative because we look at pressure as a privilege. If somebody's trying to put pressure on you, that means they have an expectation of you. And that's where you want to be at the end of the day.
Preparation stops today. Tomorrow, it's game time. The women are on the road at Xavier. The men, if you're around Alec, come out to the Fort. 6:30 p.m. tip-off for LSUA men against 7-seed Jarvis Christian at the Fort. That'll do it for us. I'm Cale Dunlop for Dimario Jackson, Billy Perkins. Thanks for tuning in.